Welcome to Bay Hill News Network News. News sponsored by.
You can now order your Roti Skins from Des Tasty Treats and Roti Skins at telephone 1784-528-2979 or pick up Des Tasty Treats and Roti Skins at Randy's Supermarket. More products are coming soon from Des Tasty Treats and Roti Skins.
In the news.
Leader of the opposition and president of the NDP, Honorable Dr. Godwin Friday, will host a press conference on Wednesday, January 8, 2025, at the party's headquarters, beginning at 11 a.m. We extend an invitation to you to join us, as Dr. Friday highlights issues that are affecting the country. Winsbert Harry, the president of the St. Vincent National Fisherfolk Association, asserts that he acted with integrity and did not mislead anyone when he declared on December 24 that he and fellow fisherfolk from Rose Place had not received any income support. Harry is responding to Agriculture Minister Saboto Caesar, who recently characterized his statement as dishonest. Harry expressed to the St. Vincent Times his astonishment, along with that of his fellow fishermen, regarding the absence of their names from the list designated for income support, despite having met the qualifications and provided substantiating evidence of the impact of Hurricane Beryl on their livelihoods. Harry articulated that, although their vessels remained unscathed, the income support was also designated for fishermen who were confined and unable to fish subsequent to the passage of Beryl, for which they were deemed eligible. As of Monday, January 6, Harry indicated that he had yet to receive any form of income support. I was not dishonest about what I had mentioned within the article because I went through the whole procedure at Victoria Park. I went there again on Monday, December 30th. They informed me that my name appeared on a master list. I checked the master list at Victoria Park. My name was not on the list. Additionally, the list did not include the names of other fishermen from Rose Place, whom I represent. We had to leave our names by one of the tents in Victoria Park. Was that dishonest? In our presence, workers from Rainforest who showed up and whose names were on the list for income support received, was that dishonest? Never did I say in my statement that fisherfolks or fishers didn't receive any income support. I did say I estimate about 200 to 300 received income support. The boats I mentioned in the St. Vincent Times article of December 24 belonged to fishermen with vessels that were not able to go fishing, and while I was there were fishermen who had to journey to Barrow Alley to look for their names because it was not on the list at Victoria Park. So I cannot see how I made a dishonest statement when I went through the whole procedure. The question is, why were our names not on the list when we were eligible for the income support, Harry said. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment wishes to advise the public that the ministry is closely monitoring the reports of an increase in respiratory viruses circulating in China. The reports speak of an increase in cases of human metapneumovirus, HMPV, a respiratory virus in the family with respiratory syncytial virus, RSV. The World Health Organization, WHO, on January 3, 2024 had not received reports from China of any unusual increase in respiratory illness. The latest surveillance data updates from China's Center for Disease Control and Prevention, China CDC, surveillance data stated that the magnitude and intensity of infectious respiratory cases were lower than those recorded during the same period last year, although there has been a rise in acute respiratory infections in northern provinces of China. At this time, the ministry will continue to strengthen respiratory disease surveillance systems across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This strengthening will include increasing our capacity to detect, laboratory or clinically, contain and implement our treatment protocols for said viruses. Routine surveillance for other infectious diseases will continue, coupled with frequent awareness programs for identified target groups. The ministry will continue to monitor the situation closely and update the public accordingly. To date, St. Vincent and the Grenadines has recorded no confirmed case/S of human metapneumovirus, HMPV. The public is therefore advised to continue observing a healthy lifestyle which reduces exposure to viral infections, including frequent hand washing, minimizing contact with persons who are sick/crowds and seeking care early. GHS students excel in the 4th Maritime Administration Essay Competition. December 11, 2024, Leah Nanton, Sashay Dick and Nina Delves brought pride and joy to their school and the GHS community by achieving outstanding results in a prestigious national essay competition held by Maritime Administration. The awards ceremony recognized their exceptional writing skills and creativity. Leah Nanton secured the first place in the 13 to 16 category while Sashay Dick took the second place. Nina Delves was first in the 9 to 12 category. The awards were presented by Mr. Hyrone Johnson, Director of Maritime Administration, who created an awareness for maritime administration and challenged the students to learn more about maritime and to seek job offers in the field. The competition saw entries not only from primary and secondary students but also from adults. We say congratulations to our girls party popper. Slide 1, Leah Nanton. Slide 2, Sashay Dick. Slide 3, Nina Delves. Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of crime Trevor Bailey has described 2024 as a challenging year for law enforcement. Bailey, who was speaking on the Police on the Beat program, said that as at November 2024 there were 3,485 reported crimes, while in 2023 there were 4,134 reported crimes. He stated that February was the month with the most reported crimes, 421. A 28-member delegation will leave the state for Venezuela head of diplomatic mission in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Francisco Perez Santana. The delegation will travel to Venezuela for the inauguration of President Nicolas Maduro and participate in an anti-fascist war forum. Santana said the delegation comprises persons from all sectors across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Budget Director Ken Morris said this year's budget is expected to surpass $1.8 billion, marking the largest budget to be presented before the House of Assembly in the nation's history. Morris made the announcement during radio, highlighting the significance of the upcoming financial plan. Political analyst Jomo Thomas says he is not surprised by the large budget expected to be presented this year, noting that it is an election year. Thomas discussed several key issues, noting the ongoing trend of increasing budgets in election years. However, he emphasized that, while the size of the budget is significant, what truly matters is the focus on people-centered programs. The presentation of the 2024 budget estimates will now take place on Thursday, January 9, 2024, 6 days later than originally scheduled. Opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday acknowledged that there have been some challenges regarding the budget process, which he says will be addressed and voiced in Parliament. However, he assured that the opposition is fully prepared to engage in the debate exercise after the official budget presentation on Monday, January 13, 2024. Dr. Friday further emphasized that his party members will be closely examining and analyzing the budget, with a particular focus on accountability, which he noted remains a significant issue. The opposition leader also urged all citizens to take a keen interest in the upcoming budget presentation and subsequent debates, stressing that the budget will play a pivotal role in shaping the nation's future, particularly in light of the upcoming elections. It is worth noting that last year's budget, which was presented on January 8, 2023, was valued at $1.6 billion. This year, the budget is expected to exceed $1.8 billion, making it the largest budget ever presented in the country's history. Supervisor of Elections, Dora James, has announced that the Electoral Office will resume voter registration for eligible individuals ahead of the upcoming general elections, which are scheduled to be held later this year. James confirmed that the registration process, which has been ongoing since the last general election, will continue as the office prepares for the announcement of the election date. James revealed that all registration offices will be open by next Monday, January 13, 2024, to facilitate new registrants. James reminded the public to make note of the specific days their local registration offices will be open in their respective constituencies. James acknowledged the challenges the Electoral Office has faced in registering voters in the southern Grenadines, particularly after many residents were displaced by Hurricane Beryl last year. She explained that officers will notify Union Island residents in advance of their visit to the island to facilitate registration, and similarly, they will do the same for residents of Canoan and Mayreau. James further explained that new registrants will need to decide where they want to vote, as they must have lived in the same location for 6 consecutive months before being eligible to vote there. She noted that some Union Island residents may face difficulty meeting this requirement due to displacement, as many have been residing on the mainland. It has now been 8 months since the Eastern Caribbean Court of Appeal heard the case regarding the COVID vaccine mandate, yet the judgment is still pending. Many of the public servants involved in the case are teachers who were dismissed from their positions due to their refusal to comply with the vaccine mandate. Oswald Robinson, president of the SVG Teachers Union, has raised concerns about the delay, questioning the competency of the judges. He noted that the prolonged decision-making process is unacceptable. Robinson expressed hope that a decision will be made as soon as possible and remains optimistic about a positive outcome for the dismissed public servants. 70 officers from the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force and the SVG Coast Guard Service have been promoted. Approved by the Police Service Commission, these appointments on promotion, which took effect on various dates, mark significant updates to the leadership and operational structure of both organizations. Those promoted are as follows. To be Acting Superintendent of Police, Mr. Foster Scott, ASP. To be Assistant Superintendent of Police, Inspector Atland Brown. To be Acting Assistant Superintendents of Police, Inspector Angus Morris. Inspector Nolan Dalloway. To be Inspectors of Police, Station Sergeant Disrine Dayeyes. Station Sergeant Maxian Richardson. To be Acting Inspectors of Police, Station Sergeant Cuthbert Morris. Station Sergeant Ken Samuel. To be Station Sergeants, Sergeant Kasanki Kwao. Sergeant Dwight Lewis. Sergeant Bjorn Duncan. Sergeant Kendall Horn. To be Acting Station Sergeants, Sergeant Disraeli Lett. Sergeant Carl Lewis. SVG Coast Guard Promotions. To be Sub-Lieutenant, Sub-LT, AG. Celia Charles. Sub-LT, Celia Charles is the first female to be promoted to that rank at the SVG Coast Guard. To act as Sub-Lieutenant, Chief Petty Officer, CPO, Kenlett Francis. Acted in the capacity of Sub-Lieutenant. Chief Petty Officer, CPO, Alvis Daniel. To be Chief Petty Officers, Chief Petty Officer, AG. Melita Brown. Petty Officer, PO, Jevon Lewis. Petty Officer, PO, Ranrick Gibson. To be Acting Chief Petty Officer, Petty Officer, PO, Marcel Morris. Acted in the capacity of Chief Petty Officer. Petty Officer, PO, Darren Robinson. General Promotions. Commissioner of Police, Mr. Enville Williams, has approved the following promotions in the Constabulary and Coast Guard Service. Sergeants of Police, 6. Acting Sergeants of Police, 11. Corporals of Police, 7. Acting Corporals of Police, 17. Petty Officers, 4. Acting Petty Officers, 1. Leading Seamen, 5. In a statement, Commissioner of Police, AG, Mr. Enville Williams congratulated the promoted officers, emphasizing that these advancements recognize their contributions and signify the additional responsibilities they now bear. Commissioner Williams also extended his appreciation to all members of the organization for their continued service and dedication.
We move to the regional news.
Men charged for attempted non-capital murder and other offenses. Merleek Chittick, 22 years, bartender of Lucas Street, St. George; Kieran Hurtle, 21 years, construction worker of Old Westerhall, St. David; Raheem Chittick, 21 years, tiller of Rush, St. George; and Joshua Jack, 21 years, bartender of Darboux, St. George were jointly charged with the offenses of attempted non-capital murder, discharging a firearm, possession of a firearm and possession of ammunition. These charges were brought against the four men following the shooting incident which occurred at Fenton Village, St. George on Friday, January 3, 2025. They appeared before St. George's No. 3 Magistrates Court on Tuesday, January 7, 2025 and were remanded to His Majesty's Prison. The four men are scheduled to reappear at the St. George's No. 1 Magistrates Court on Monday, January 27, 2025. Police report they were forced to shoot and kill an attacking pit bull in St. James on Sunday morning during a police operation. Officers of the Western Division, under the supervision of SNR Supt Williams and Inspector Grant, made their way to Ethel Street where they intended to conduct a search of a home after being presented with information that the occupant would have firearms and ammunition within the compound. Police report that upon arriving at the location about 4:30 a.m. that day, the officers called out to the suspect, however, no one responded. As a result, the officers entered the compound. It was then they were reportedly attacked by the dog. The Ministry of Tourism is reporting that Jamaica earned $4.3 billion from the industry in 2024, with some 4.3 million visitors. Jamaica is also on track to realize its 5x5x5 growth strategy of 5 million visitors and earnings of $5 billion by 2025. Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett made the disclosures on the JIS television program Get the Facts recently. Bartlett said the sector finished the year strong despite the slight shortfall in arrival figures due to aviation disruptions, Hurricane Beryl and geopolitical issues such as travel advisories. We had 68,000 less seats into Jamaica, which meant there was a natural reduction in the projected figures in terms of arrivals. Tourism, as you know, is resilient. Notwithstanding those disruptions, we are coming out of the year with a small increase in arrivals, but the earnings are in line with what we projected, Bartlett said. Professor Sir Hilary Beckles has been unanimously appointed as the new chairman/chancellor of the United Nations University, effective May 2025. The appointment was made during the university's Governance Council meeting in Tokyo, Japan on December 7, 2024. The council cited Beckles' global reputation as a strategic planner in higher education, scholar, and development thinking leader in their decision, as the university approaches its 50th anniversary. Beckles brings extensive United Nations experience to the role, having served as a consultant for the UN Development Report on Latin America and the Caribbean, worked on committees for the global future of higher education, and acted as vice president and historian for UNESCO's Slave Routes Project. He also recently co-edited Volume 9 of UNESCO's General History of Africa series. His UN engagement includes 2 addresses to the General Assembly, one supporting the International Decade for People of African Descent, 2015 to 2024, and another on reparatory justice. He has also addressed the UN Security Council on global peace in the digital North-South divide. There is an undeniable need within Barbados' healthcare system for more specialists, a challenge officials at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, QEH, are said to be actively addressing through significant workforce expansion and service improvements. Dr. Dawn Scantlebury, head of cardiovascular services at the QEH, said the current situation was serious, with the hospital facing a growing disease burden that outstrips current capacity. We need more specialists in disciplines such as general internal medicine, nephrology, anesthesia, endocrinology, and cardiology. Cardiovascular disease remains the leading cause of death and disability in Barbados, yet we have 9 cardiologists across both public and private sectors, many of whom are approaching retirement age. We will need more cardiologists in the future, she said. Scantlebury informed that significant progress is currently underway. In recent months, nearly 300 new staff positions have been approved, with a strong focus on clinical roles, including 43 specialist doctors across critical areas. This investment in human resources represents a crucial step towards closing the gaps in care delivery. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has defended National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hinds to his very end as he knocked critics for the hateful attack on the minister. The country's 2 highest murder records have occurred under Hinds' leadership, 624 murders in 2024 and 605 murders in 2022. The Prime Minister was questioned about his confidence in Hines and the opposition's persistent calls for his removal. Speaking to the media from the steps of a private villa at Tobago Plantations, where a two-day People's National Movement, PNM, parliamentary retreat was held, Rowley said the opposition's hatred of people is not part of his management portfolio. The opposition's position that our crime problem is a Fitzgerald-Hines problem. I don't subscribe to that because I know they don't view me any differently to the way they view Fitzgerald-Hines. As a matter of fact, I think they spend more time saying that I should go, he said. Fitzgerald-Hines works in the cabinet, he's working for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and the fact that they don't agree the system allows them not to agree. But this apparent persecution, I'm not part of that, he added. Caribbean Airlines has been ranked third for on-time arrivals in the Latin American region for 2024, according to aviation data provider Cirium. The report, released on Thursday, revealed that over 85% of Caribbean Airlines flights arrived within 15 minutes of their scheduled time. On-time arrivals are classified as the percentage of completed flights that arrived at the gate on time. Caribbean Airlines was the only Caribbean carrier listed among the top 10 winners, with Copa Airlines and Aeromexico taking the top 2 spots in Latin America. Barbados has met all its quantitative performance and indicative targets under the current International Monetary Fund, IMF, programs, but concerns remain about the country's global competitiveness and business facilitation environment, a report has said. This is the fourth report under an IMF Government of Barbados 36-month arrangement for the current Extended Fund Facility, EFF, and Resilience and Sustainability Facility, RSF, that is intended to maintain and strengthen macroeconomic stability, support the structural reform agenda, and increase resilience to climate change. In its just-released report, the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation (BERT) Plan Monitoring Committee said the economy has continued to record positive performance metrics, and for this period there has been strong real growth in GDP and continued moderation of the rate of inflation. Grenada Labour Commissioner Sparkle Grenade Courtney has disclosed that the Labour Department earned over $2 million East Caribbean dollars in 2024. She noted that at the Department of Labor they have administered the Work Permit Program, and for this year they have processed so far 890 work permits in varying sectors, such as construction, tourism and hospitality, the yachting sector, professional services, at a value of over $2 million East Caribbean dollars. The estimate of revenue and expenditure for 2024 shows that in the year 2023, government earned $1,879,387 East Caribbean dollars through work permits and projected that it will earn $2,027,022 East Caribbean dollars in 2024 and $2,151,065 East Caribbean dollars in 2025.
International news is next.
Justin Welby laid down his bishop's crozier on the altar in the chapel at Lambeth Palace, marking the end of his ministry as Archbishop of Canterbury. This symbolic act is performed by bishops on leaving office. Archbishop Justin will legally cease to be Archbishop of Canterbury at midnight tonight. Archbishop Justin spent his final day in office privately at the palace. He attended morning prayer, lunchtime Eucharist and evensong. The day will conclude with a service of Compline. During the day, the Archbishop met with current staff and some friends and former colleagues to thank them for their work and say farewell. North Korea's state-run Korean Central News Agency on Tuesday claimed a successful test a new type of intermediate-range hypersonic ballistic missile, with leader Kim Jong-un touting the weapon as a major military achievement. KCNA said the successful test took place on January 6. The launch marked Pyongyang's first missile test of 2025 and came with Secretary of State Antony Blinken in the region for what is expected to be his last foreign trip as America's top diplomat. President-elect Donald Trump addressed reporters from Mar-a-Lago on Tuesday, discussing a range of topics, including the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. Speaking on the return of the Israeli hostages, Trump said all hell will break out in the region if the hostages are not returned before his inauguration. At least 126 people were killed, with another 188 injured, after the earthquake hit the foothills of the Himalayas at around 9 o'clock local time, 1 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, on Tuesday, according to Chinese state media. A large-scale rescue operation was launched, with survivors under additional pressure as temperatures were predicted to fall as low as -16 C, 3.2 F, overnight. Earthquakes are common in the region, which lies on a major geological fault line, but Tuesday's was one of China's deadliest in recent years. The magnitude 7.1 quake, which struck at a depth of 10 kilometers, 6 miles, according to data from the U.S. Geological Survey, was also felt in Nepal and parts of India, which neighbor Tibet. The U.S. trade gap widened in November according to government data released today, as imports rose faster than exports ahead of President-elect Donald Trump's return to the White House. In November, the U.S. trade deficit rose 6.2% to $78.2 billion, said the Commerce Department. Imports grew 3.4% to $351.6 billion, driven by goods shipments with increases seen in areas ranging from industrial supplies to semiconductors and passenger cars. U.S. exports, meanwhile, also rose by 2.7% to $273.4 billion in November, said the report.
This end of Bay News Network news. News sponsored by.
You can now order your roti skins from Des Tasty Treats and Roti Skins at telephone 1784-528-2979 or pick up Des Tasty Treats and Roti Skins at Randy's Supermarket. More products are coming soon from Des Tasty Treats and Roti Skins.
Audio Jungle.
Sports is next.
Audio Jungle.
Sports was sponsored by.
Looking for a place to relax with natural cool breeze and friendly surroundings? Then check the Bay Hill Tree Bar, located at Bay Hill Cane Garden. We have everything a bar will have. We also sell Shell 20 pounds cooking gas at the Bay Hill Tree Bar.
In the sports.
Following a breathtaking century in the opening ODI against Bangladesh where he blasted 113 runs from 80 balls, the 26-year-old set a record of amassing the most runs in 8 consecutive ODI innings by any West Indian batter. The left-hander made his ODI debut in 2023, scoring a half-century in his second match against England in Antigua. However, it was his transformation in Sri Lanka earlier this year that truly marked his resurgence. Known for his hard-hitting ability, Rutherford registered back-to-back half-centuries during the 3-match series, including a match-winning unbeaten 50 in the final game, which guided the West Indies to their first victory in Sri Lanka since 2005. The Guyanese cricketer credits his resurgence to self-reflection and a shift in mindset. Portmore United failed to break their winless run in the Jamaica Premier League, which stretched to 6 matches, following a 1-1 draw with Tivoli Gardens at the Anthony Spalding Complex yesterday. Romeo Guthrie gave Portmore an 8th-minute lead. However, Steve Clark ensured a share of the spoils with a 55th-minute header. Women's Premier League update. Soccer ball. In a thrilling Sunday showdown, the new India Goodwill Runners secured a 2-0 victory over Harlem United, showcasing teamwork and determination to claim their revenge from the first round. Glowing Star match highlights. 38th minute, Alien George broke the deadlock, putting the Goodwill Runners in the lead with a well-timed strike. 72nd minute, Captain Roselia Regis delivered a masterful assist, setting up young Brianna Briggs to seal the win and put the game beyond Harlem United. This hard-fought victory marks a significant moment for the new India Goodwill Runners as they bounce back and demonstrate their strength in the second round of the Women's Premier League. Clapping hands, kudos to both teams for an exciting match. The action in the league continues to captivate fans, so stay tuned for more updates and results. Trophy. The DFA Women's Premier League continues this week. These two matches, Roosevelt Scarlet Bombers vs Goodwill Runners SC and Southeast FC vs Belfast Estate Mahot Soka Strickets, will take place on Wednesday, January 8th, and Thursday, January 9th, respectively. Stay tuned for more pre-match flyers as the weekend promises 4 matches from 2 venues.
This end of our sports news. Sports was sponsored by
Looking for a place to relax with natural cool breeze and friendly surroundings? Then check the Bay Hill Tree Bar, located at Bay Hill Cane Garden. We have everything a bar will have. We also sell Shell 20 pounds of cooking gas at the Bay Hill Tree Bar.
Audio Jungle.